Good evening and welcome to this evening's STS-88 mission status briefing. With us to discuss the continuing activities of the Endeavour crew aboard the International Space Station, we have Lee Briscoe, who's the mission operations representative this evening. Joining him, we have Mark Kirsich, who's an International Space Station flight director, and also Doug Drury, the Zarya launch package manager, and with us is Beth Humphreys, the Unity deputy launch package manager. We will have statements from all of our briefers, and then we'll be happy to take your questions. Lee?
Thank you. Just a couple of things about the orbiter, and then we'll let the folks talk about the real action that's going on. The orbiter's in great shape this evening. We don't really have anything to talk about in the way of anomalies or funnies. We will be doing a 10-2 depress in preparation for the EVA on Saturday after we get through with the egress activities today. I'll just mention the EVA on Saturday quickly. We are planning to do that Saturday afternoon, probably early afternoon. We've got a number of things to do. We've got a stowage bag for the node that we need to go out and install. We have some APAS cables that we'll be disconnecting and stowing as a get-ahead activity for some of the other flights. We will pick up the second or the Zenith Toru antenna deploy. We've got a handrail to install, some photo TV work. And then we have our safer activity for about the last 30 minutes of the EVA, where we'll do a short tethered flight within the bay. Total EVA time is about 6.5 hours. We also plan to stow the hook that we use to deploy the Toru antennas on the outside. Right now it's planned to be on the forward end of the FGB, and we have a mechanism planned to do that. So we're looking forward to the egress tonight, and then on to the EVA tomorrow, and then the undock, and getting ready to come home next week. And we're happy with the mission so far from an orbiter standpoint. Mark.
Good afternoon. I'm really pleased, very pleased to be able to sit here and tell you that the first 2 days inside aboard the new International Space Station have gone very well. All of the planned objectives have been accomplished, and as I left to come over here today, the crew was about halfway through their egress activities coming out of the node Unity. Let me summarize the accomplishments we've made since we got together the last time. First of all, we completed the in-flight maintenance procedure to remove the faulty PTAB, or FGB battery number 1 current converter unit. That IFM was completed successfully. We spent the last 24 hours or so watching that battery. That battery appears to be performing nominal, and we believe that IFM was fully successful. We also completed the installation, activation, and checkout of the node Unity's early communication system. This is an RF-based communication system that we can use for command and telemetry between the ground and the space station, and also to conduct two-way video teleconferences. During the testing activities, we demonstrated both those capabilities. We sent commands to the vehicle, we processed the telemetry, and we had a two-way video telecon. Most of the rest of the activities inside the space station over the past day were what we call get-ahead tasks, or actually preparations for future crews, making the node Unity and the FGB Zarya ready for permanent habitation. This includes a variety of tasks, most notably removing a lot of the mechanisms and structural devices that are put in place to allow the spacecraft to survive the launch environment. You might have heard us talking about removing launch restraints, removing shear panels, installing rotational pins, those sorts of things. We set up some foot restraints, some mobility aids to allow future crews to get around easier inside the space station. We installed a wireless antenna system inside, and that will allow future crews to communicate with each other. And we installed what are called some rack pivot pins. And these pivot pins will allow racks to be rotated in and out easily for routine maintenance. We also completed a number of transfer items. We brought some items from the node back into the orbiter, most notably some clothes. There were several reasons the crew was real anxious to get inside the space station yesterday. One of the reasons was the last several days of their clean clothes was inside the node Unity, and we had to get those back inside the orbiter so they could wear those. We transferred a few things to the space station, some spare avionics units, a spare node MDM, a spare current converter controller. We put that in the FGB, and that summarizes the transfer activities. Last night we continued the characterization and testing of the early communication system. That went well. We also demonstrated that the early communication system can be used not only to communicate here in Houston to the on-orbit vehicle, but we also use that it can be used as a backup system for the control teams in Moscow to communicate via Houston and the node with the FGB Zarya. And that summarizes where we are with the space station.
Hey, good evening. About an hour ago, we egressed the FGB and closed the hatches, so that pretty well closes out our FGB activities for today. We continue to monitor systems. Both the flight control teams in Houston and in Moscow are working very closely together, as well as our group of American flight controllers that are in Moscow. I just have to say it's been a near perfect mission for us. Things have gone off very well. We've had a few minor problems. The Toru antenna that we deployed on the second EVA, the battery controller unit that we replaced yesterday. We're looking forward to the other Toru antenna on the EVA tomorrow. But these things have been things we've considered to be non-critical things that have given us a good opportunity to exercise the functions between both flight control teams and their support teams and the on-orbit crew. And we've learned a great deal more about working together and what it takes to get these tasks done. I think it'll prepare us very well for future activities. As I said, we've closed the hatches on Zarya. We're kind of in the monitor mode until tomorrow, and when we start the next EVA. That's about all I've got.
Beth?
Good evening. As Doug and Mark and Lee have indicated, we've had a very successful mission. Our second ingress day today was very successful. We're very pleased with all the tasks that have been accomplished on these two ingress days. It was very exciting for all of us who've been working on Flight 2A for the past several years to see the crew enter the module yesterday. Last time I saw the module was down at KSC when it was being prepared to go out to the launch pad, and it was just great to see the hatches opened up and the Unity just looking pristine inside when the crew went in. I think the whole team is very excited, very pleased with the mission. Also very proud of all the testing activities that we accomplished prior to launch to check out all of Unity's systems to make sure that when we got on orbit we would have systems that were functioning properly, and that everyone understood all the ground commanding that was going to be performed. We ran through a lot of the on-orbit procedures prior to launch to assure ourselves that we would